Welcome to episode, I don't know, episode something of Answers with Austin, where I get to interview awesome people, business people, people looking to make a change in the world, kind of get to deep dive into their life, into their story, and what they do differently than anybody else. Today I have Mr. Dan Gardner, extraordinaire. I think I know you personally probably the last 26 years or so.
Long time.
A little bit of a long time. Definitely know me since birth, no question about that. So thank you for coming on. So sure. Usually in this type of atmosphere, we kind of talk about things that have gone in your life. We talked about, business, your aspiration, things you've done to grow your business and everything. But before we kind of dive into that, kind of tell everybody, thinking a 30-second clip, like who are you? What do you do? What do you own? That kind of stuff.
Well, I'm Dan Gardner, and I own Atlantic Pond in Rodney Village with my wife. And we've been operating in that shopping center longer than any business there.
Okay, that's a long time.
I've got about 1,000 loans open through the pawn shop with various people, and sell almost $1 million a year on retail.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So explain to everybody, just so they can kind of get an idea, because everybody knows about Pawn Stars. It's on the History Channel. It's cool. It's flashy. Is that how it is in real life, or?
More no than yes, but
okay.
Yes. Crazy people come in with all kinds of weird things, and they'll come in with a like, for instance, a samurai sword that was from the Dang dynasty, and the problem is that it's stamped China. And that's really before China was formed, so probably not from then. But anyway, people come in to get rid of things that are taking up room around their house and convert it for cash.
Okay.
And one of the things that I've noticed about Delaware, everybody in Delaware loves to yard sale. They love to go to Goodwill.
Yep.
They love good deals. And so that's why pawn shops are popular.
Gotcha. It's kind of like a niche in there. It kind of hits everything. You're able to go out there, find something new you need. Maybe actually find something you really need, even new in the box, like a PlayStation TV, I'm assuming, that kind of stuff.
Well, I get everybody from somebody who rides their bike there, okay, because they don't have transportation, to people that drive Mercedes and BMWs and Cadillacs in the parking lot. Everybody's looking for something, and everybody wants a better value.
Gotcha. So tell me, at least with the pawn stuff, like how does that work? Like how do you do a pawn? What is that? It's
real easy. I have found that most people in Delaware make about 85% of what they need. Okay, expenses are high and wages are low, and people are having a tough time. Not to mention now. And so what they'll do is they'll need $100 or whatever till payday. And so they'll bring in their PS4, their laptop, their television, their jewelry, whatever, tools, and I'll make a value, I'll review and assign a value to their item, and I'll lend them the money that they need, and then they come back and pick the item up within 30 days for a small fee.
Gotcha. Okay. So I know you do that with the pawn business, and you also attach to the finance business as well. What are the two big differences between them?
Well, for a pawn loan, all you need is something of collateral. Okay.
Like so an object.
An object that has value. And as you know, I've got a lot of weird things in the store that a lot of people would not put value on, but we do. I had lent, I think, $2,500 on an airplane. We'd done boats. I did entire storage lockers full of stuff. But more traditionally, it's jewelry and the other electronics and things like that. On the finance side, you got to have a job. Or you got to have income, and you have to have verifiable sources, and that's really the primary difference.
Gotcha. So my real question for you is, why a pawn business? Like, nobody's like, oh, let me jump in and open a pawn store. It's something kind of out of the blue. What made you get into that?
Well, you're absolutely right, because I had never been in a pawn shop in my whole life. I really didn't understand what they were, and for whatever reason, I didn't believe that I needed their services, and I didn't realize that they sold good, cool stuff at low prices. I just was ignorant. I was running a finance company, and I was working with somebody out of the Midwest, and we were selling their credit card to our finance customers. And I told the guy that when I got up to selling 1,000 cards a month, I'd want to come out to your office and negotiate a better deal. And so about 6 or 9 months into that, that's what happened. And so me and my partner flew out to Minnesota to meet with these guys. They had this Cash Pass card that was very popular in Delaware for a while. And when we went out there, we got there a day early, and he had the Pawn America stores.
Okay.
They were pawn shops that had been in business for over 30 years. This company is so successful that they can afford to purchase an airplane that seats 40 people.
Wow.
And more importantly, they can afford to fly it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
And
Okay.
that's
Private
thousands.
jet.
That's thousands of dollars an hour to fly a plane.
Oh yeah, totally.
So these guys are very successful, really down to earth. And we got out there a day early. And one of the things that we noticed, we went around to their pawn shops, and we were blown away by how professional they were. All the employees wore shirt and ties. All the stores were clean. It wasn't anything like you saw in Pulp Fiction or a movie or whatever. It was completely different. And every one of those stores was busy. So this was around 1999. No, before 99. Around 1997. Things were booming. The markets were going on fire. It was the last time the real estate industry was in a huge bubble. All the good things were going on. And the pawn shops were packed. Well, every other store you go into, retail, right? They're all dead during the day, busy at night. So we saw that the bell was ringing all day long. So we thought, wow, what an interesting business to get in. Well, when we met the guys, we negotiated a better deal on the card. And we asked them a lot of questions about the pawn shop. And to make a long story short, about 5 months later, I opened the first pawn shop. I opened 3 in Delaware. I opened the first pawn shop after we met with them about 5 months later. And I went out there. I spent a week with them, Monday through Friday, riding with some of their managers, and got my hands dirty. And then I came back and I wrote the software, bought the space, and opened the business.
Wow. That's a whole lot kind of happening at once. That's definitely a whole lot at once.
Well, and then I was also managing 8 finance stores at the same time.
So so typically when people want to move forward with something in their life, especially something big, opening a business, maybe operating 8 different businesses, that kind of stuff, there's hesitation. There's things that hold them back. What didn't stop you? What didn't hold you back? What was, I guess, a catalyst that really pushed you forward past any of those issues?
I've never really been satisfied with the status quo, so I've always kind of stressed and pushed the limits. I'd been working in the finance company at that time for about 5 or 6 years. Our business had almost tripled since I took it over. We were hitting on all cylinders, and I had time available. One of the things I firmly believe is that if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And so anyway, we were looking at expanding it. But I think the number one thing that holds people back from starting their own business or making their next big launching point is capital.
Capital, the money, the funds to actually do it.
That's the number one problem. When you solve that problem, then I think all the other doors open for you. And the reason that capital is such a problem is because that's the most difficult thing to do.
It is. It really is. And Sean, that is definitely something we need to clip out and make that a short piece. That was good. That's good. Because it's something that people don't always think about, when moving forward. They come up with these great plans, things to move forward, even becoming a realtor. What's that barrier of entry in order for you to kind of move yourself forward? Becoming a realtor, it's a couple $1,000s, but at the same time, you have marketing materials if you're going to do that. You got to be able to pay for Facebook ads, all this stuff. And if you can't afford that, you've got to find another means. Like, you got to spend your time instead of your money in order to make that happen. Door knock your cold calls, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's just sometimes people don't think about that stuff. They get a grand picture and then they kind of get stuck and can't move forward.
A lot of people picture where they want to be, but they don't picture themselves getting there.
Yeah.
And if you picture yourself getting there, you'll enjoy being you'll enjoy arriving there.
Enjoy the journey, not just where you're trying to go.
You really have to.
Yeah, you have to enjoy the ride. Agreed. So my question after that follow-up, at least, what's the craziest thing you kind of see coming to the pawn shop? Like it's got to be something.
I've seen World War II and Civil War armaments, old bombs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had IEDs in World War II, obviously. I've seen that kind of stuff. I've seen $5,000 comic books. I have found some video games that are like $200 and $300. And
wow.
They're the old Atari 2600, 5200 that kids used to play 30, 40 years ago.
And throw around.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I guess the thing that's lots of jewelry. It's funny how in a big lot of jewelry that somebody gets for however they do it, there can be one or two pieces in there that are the real thing, and turn that whole bag into a pot of gold.
100%. Yeah, you need the diamond in the rough, and you got that. You're golden. That's cool. Kind of being able to see those experiences, the things you've gone through. So for you, what's probably your biggest goal for 2021? Obviously, 2020's been crazy. Nobody's really been prepared for everything we've kind of had to go through and had to adjust. But moving forward through 2020, what's your big 2021 goal?
My big 21 or goal for the next 12 months is to put a solid staff in at Atlantic Pond and step away from the business and semi-retire.
Okay. So that's something you've kind of thought about a lot, or retirement.
Yeah.
Like, is that intimidating? Is it exciting? Like,
well, I think it's a little bit of both. Everybody tells me that I'll be bored and I won't be able to. I won't be able to fill my days. Yeah. I'd sure like to give it a try.
At least for a couple months.
I think the other thing is financially, I think that's what most people sweat. And, my family, we've worked really hard at saving money and investing. And, I think we're prepared.
So if there was, through your journey as a business owner, whether it's Atlantic Pond, Atlantic Finance, stuff you did before that with Aflac, being essentially the regional manager for Aflac, student finance, all that stuff. If there was one piece of advice you had to give to somebody who was a young entrepreneur, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, you've got to be unbelievably persistent in the face of adversity. But I would say that probably the most important thing is to find a spouse that supports you and somebody that can believe in you. And, so that's great for couples. Yeah. Okay. But if not, then the people that are surround you. I believe firmly that people's minds are gardens, and what you put in is what grows. True. And if you're around people that don't believe in you, then you're absolutely right. It's only, even with an unbelievable attitude, it'll wear you down over time. And I had left a job when I was really young. That I'd been there 11 years. I was an area manager, had a company car, had all the bells and whistles that were good at the time. And I quit that job and gave my notice, quit my job. But I ended up having to drive my company car to the office with my bicycle in the back seat, or in the trunk.
Say to your pride.
And, I left. And rode my bike home. I didn't even have a car, and so
big change.
Yeah, it was a big big change. And after that, my sales career really took off, and it was direct sales, and so I swung for home runs for probably the next 20 years.
There you go. Got to keep swinging sometimes.
Until I moved into other jobs.
Yeah. Consistency, though, at the end of the day, I think is key. In all the sales jobs you've had, pretty much anything, it's just consistency, because it's a numbers game. Everything, sales is a numbers game.
Sales is a numbers game, and also being able to understand your product and always look for new and different ways in trying to explain it to other people. Because just because it makes sense to you how you're saying it may not make sense to the person across the table, and it may not make sense to the next person that you're sitting across from the table. And you got to be able to read people. You got to be able to understand what's important to them, and then try to match up what you're offering, to meet those needs.
Makes sense.
And I guess the other thing too is I've read a ton of books.
Yeah.
I've read a ton of books.
A ton of books.
And probably the second best book ever written, and I've read it probably 15 times, is How to Win Friends and Influence Others by Dale Carnegie. I think anybody should read that book.
Oh, great. I mean, it shows you so much just into how your engagement with people really does matter.
It was written 100 years ago, and it's like it was written yesterday. And anyway, it's a fabulous book, and like the Bible, every time you read it, it says something different to you. Because of where you are in your life at that time.
Agreed. Different perspectives at different times. That's also a good thing to do. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Anybody looking to look into Atlantic Pawn, you can go to the website shop.firststateexchange.com. That's shop, S-H-O-P, firststateexchange.com. Take a peek at their inventory. They're available in Romney Village, where Ollie's is, just south of Dover in the Camden area. They're always happy to serve you with any needs they have. But again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. There we go.